Here we go. Here we go. Woo! 4 games down, 158 to go. And the Blue Jays wrap up their first homestand of the season with the Washington Nationals coming into town. My name is Scott McGregor, and this is Blue Jays Game Recap, and it starts right now. Lights up. Let's go. The Blue Jays are back, and right now, with the game having gone final, we are welcoming you in to Blue Jays Game Recap on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Now, let's go to your hosts of Blue Jays Game Recap, Thomas McGregor, Ali Musa, and Scott McGregor in the Sports for Beginners podcast studio. Take it away, gentlemen, because when the umpire says, "You're out," or "That's the game," or "Let's play ball," we know it's time for some baseball. This is Blue Jays Game Recap. Take it away, gentlemen. Lights up. Let's go, Blue Jays. Welcome in, Blue Jays fans. Welcome in, Nationals fans. Welcome in, baseball fans of all ages. My name is Scott McGregor. Welcome to the second installment of Blue Jays Game Recap for the 2025 baseball season. It is time to talk homestand season opener finale. We're going to talk about that in a little bit as part of our Game 1 review. But first, I want to welcome you all into the program. My name is Scott McGregor. Here we go. Here we go. John Schneider versus the Washington Nationals. He is your manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, your manager of your Washington Nationals, the team of topic on this show, is none other than, who is our manager? Who are we looking at? Managers. That is Dave Martinez. So Dave Martinez versus John Schneider in the managing bowl. Let's take a look at our starting pitching lineup for this matchup. Well, first thing we got to tell you is that for the Blue Jays, they would start off Chris Bassett got the dub against the Orioles in the finale of that game, or that 4-game set. The Blue Jays were 3-2 at the end of that series. Well, actually, sorry, they were 2-2 at the end of that series. They end Game 1 with a win and move to 3-2. Washington came into the series, I should say, 2-1, 1-2, I should say. They dropped to 1-3, with the Blue Jays knocking down the Nationals, not the Astros, the Nationals 5-2 in the opener. Winning pitcher was Bowden Francis. He gets the start. Start for the Nationals went to Michael Soroka, who has now played in 25 games. He played in 25 games, I should say, in the 2024 regular season. This was his first start of the season. He has played in 70 games for his career so far, and has a record in his career of 17 wins and 19 losses. 287 strikeouts for his career. Well, actually, I guess you could say 287 strikeouts for his career now in the regular season. He has 3 strikeouts on the year this year. But he had 284 strikeouts for his career going into this game. All right. So it's the Nats and the Blue Jays. First of all, I want to issue some notes that we knew about. Before we got to the end of Sunday's game, we knew that Max Scherzer, a former Nationals player, and also Los Angeles Dodger, New York Met, and Texas Rangers player, was placed on the 15-day injured list due to an injury dealing with his thumb. Right lat soreness is what they were calling it. And that is why he's on the 15-day DL. So that begged the question. We knew Jose Berrios was going to get his second start of the season. That was going to be against the Nationals. We're going to get to that a little bit later after our game 1 review coming up in just a few minutes. But we also were wondering, is Kevin Gausman going to get the start against the Nationals in the last game of the season? We'll provide you with the answer in our Game 3 review. For now, let's talk about Game 1. And we're going to do that right now before we take our first commercial break of the show. So, Blue Jays 2-2, Nationals 1-2 on the season. Nationals avoided a 3-game sweep of the Philadelphia Phillies, coming into Toronto, winning 1 of the 3 games against the Philadelphia Phillies. But guess what? Bowden Francis, oh my goodness me. You know, for a long time, even though I never wanted to say it because I knew if I said it, it was going to probably not happen for Bowden. So Bowden, I apologize on that front. I thought to myself, I didn't want to say this, but you just might get history. And yes, Bowden Francis has been flirting with history a few times before. He did it a couple of times last year. And in the opening day start that he gets, which is against the Nationals, he goes 6 innings, gives up 2 hits, strikes out 4 Nationals, 2 home runs, 2 earned runs. The home runs are the runs that led to where the score is at 5-2. Those were in the top of the 6th inning. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then, of course, Nationals starting pitcher Michael Soroka. Just to go over his card here of his day on a big day for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. First 15,000 fans in the ballpark would receive a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Silver Slugger bobblehead. Michael Soroka, going back to Michael for a second. Going 5 innings, giving up 5 hits, 1 home run, 4 runs earned, 1 walk, and striking out 3 Blue Jays. Ends the game with an ERA of 7.20. ERA for Bowden Francis was 3. Jimmy Garcia picking up his first save of the season, as the Blue Jays win this one 5-2 on account of 5 runs on 10 hits, no errors. For the Nationals, 2 runs on 5 hits, no errors. Record for Bowden Francis is 1-0. Michael Soroka 0-1. And Jimmy Garcia with his first save of the season. We'll talk about the umpiring crew once we've wrapped up the reviews, which are coming your way. Well, Game 2 and Game 3, they're coming your way in just a few moments from now. It is 4:46 p.m. Eastern Time as we are talking to you now. So, without further ado, let's continue with our Game 1 review. And review how the scoring occurred. For that, we take you to the bottom of the second to kick things off. And Andres Jimenez strikes again. His 3rd home run of the season. Fly ball to right field. Solo shot for him. Makes it 1-0 Toronto. Flash you to the bottom of the 3rd. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., his 2nd double of the season. Scores rookie Alan Roden. It's 2-0 Toronto. So Toronto is on the board in the 2nd inning and continues in the 3rd inning. Bottom of the 4th we go. The runs keep on coming. 2 runs score in the bottom of the 4th, including A run scored by Alejandro Kirk, a double for Alejandro Kirk, his first of the season. Andres Jimenez scores. That makes it 3-0 Toronto. Nathan Lukes is out on a force out. And I believe this would be a play that would be challenged. Perhaps it was. I'm not really sure. I got to remember when the challenges happened. I was there, but I might not have been paying much attention. So that's something I got to work on here for Blue Jays game recap. Anyways, Will Wagner was out at second base. Alejandro Kirk scores on the play. It's 4-0 Toronto. Top of the sixth we go, and here come the Nationals. C.J. Abrams. C.J. Abrams homers his first home run of the season. James Woods follows a few minutes later with his first home run of the season. First it was to right field, then it was left center. And that's what made it 4-2 Toronto. 4-2 Toronto. Top of the sixth. Flip over from the stretch inning, which is the bottom of the seventh at Toronto. And George Springer comes up clutch. Ground ball to James Woods, the left fielder. Andres Jimenez scores. It's 5-2 Toronto, which would ultimately end up being our final score. All right. Game 2 and Game 3 coming up in separate segments. Coming up next is Game 2. Coming up next after that is Game 3. Then it's time for players of the series for both teams, coupled together with on deck for Blue Jays game recap. Next time, and season series upcoming for both teams. That follows. Our Game 3 review. Game 2 review is up next, and I'll provide some thoughts on both Game 1 and Game 2 of this series when Blue Jays game recap Nationals and Blue Jays continues. By the way, Tuesday was April Fool's Day, so it was also a promotional night for the Blue Jays as Looney Dogs Night returned to the ballpark. Every Tuesday home game, come down to the ballpark and make sure you come hungry, because it's $1 hot dogs every Tuesday home game. With the exception of Canada Day. All right, with that said, Nationals and Blue Jays. Blue Jays game recap continues in a moment.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
I wonder if I could make it. It's almost getting to 8 o'clock p.m., and I am still a few more steps away from home to get to my computer to listen to CNT Radio's Cosmopolitan Culture Club. The best of the best music from around the world. Can't wait! I think I made it! CNT Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches. 5-2 one day, 5-3 the next day. Same result. Blue Jays win it. Well, this 3-game series with the Blue Jays and the Nationals continues here on Blue Jays Game Recap. My name is Scott McGregor. This is our second installment of Blue Jays Game Recap for 2025's baseball season. Chad Green getting the win in the Blue Jays 5-3 win over the Nationals on Looney Dogs night. Tuesday, April 1st, 2025, which was also April Fool's Day. But since April Fool's Day has come and gone, we're not going to worry about that. And let's get right into the game. Dave Martinez and John Schneider are the managers. The matchup itself for this game, we had for the Nationals, we had Trevor Williams start for the Nationals against Jose Berrios. Berrios got the start against the Nationals in game number 2. Both men did not get the win, but Chad Green picked up the W. Jeff Hoffman with his second save of the season. This time, the Blue Jays still with no errors on the board, but one error on the board for the Nationals. The Blue Jays win on 5 runs, 12 hits, no errors. Nationals fall to 1-4 on account of three runs on 6 hits, 1 error. Winning pitcher was Chad Green. The loss went to Jose A. Ferrer, Jose A.F., I will say, in case I pronounced the name wrong. His record 0-1. Chad Green, his record 1-0. ERA for Chad Green 7.71. For Jose A.F., it is 4.91. Jeff Hoffman still with no ERA. He picks up his second save of the season. Bo Bichette 2 for 5 in the game. And the Blue Jays winning this one 5-3. Well, they won 5-2 on Monday night. Let's see how a Tuesday night game goes. And a reminder that our Work from Dome recap is coming up in just a little bit as well. I will also provide you with some thoughts on the series as well as players of the series. All that coming up in a few short moments, as well as season series upcoming for both teams and on deck next time on Blue Jays game recap. All that coming up a little bit later. Scoring, here we go. Bottom of the second is where we start. George Springer getting things started for the Blue Jays. Picks up a single, and Andres Jimenez scores. Alejandro Kirk going to second base on the play. Ernie Clement is grounding into a force out that leads to out number one. Ernie Clement to first base. George Springer to third. Will Wagner to second. He was out at second, I should say. Alejandro Kirk scores. It's 2-0 Toronto. Alan Roden picking up a single, I should say, in this one. His third. Nope, not third. Which that would score the Blue Jays' third run of the game, I should say. Got to keep things relevant here. George Springer will score on the play. It's 3-0. Fast forward from the bottom of the second inning to the top of the sixth inning, where Bowden Francis got into a bit of trouble. Kierbert Ruiz with a single scores C.J. Abrams, and Jacob Young. And the Nationals are on the board. It's 3-2. Thanks to the single from Kierbert Ruiz in the top of the sixth, which got the Nationals on the board. Top of the seventh, C.J. Abrams doubles and scores Alex Call to tie the game up in the top of the seventh. Fast forward to the bottom of the eighth, and that is when Bo Bichette singles on a ground ball to right fielder Alex Call. George Springer will score. Will Wagner will score. Blue Jays get into trouble. Bo Bichette gets them out of trouble. It's a 5-3 game. And that is what it would end up being. A quick little update. The Saint, actually this is on a football note. As of 37 minutes ago, according to TSN, the Arizona Cardinals have signed tight end Trey McBride to a 4-year, $76 million deal with $4.3 million guaranteed. The deal makes McBride, who's a 25-year-old, the highest paid tight end in NFL history. So the Cardinals of Arizona have locked up Trey McBride. So that was a quick NFL update. As we wrapped up our Game 2 review of our Series 2 out of 162 for the Blue Jays and the Nationals. Nationals have now lost 2, and the Blue Jays have taken the series. So even if they did win on Wednesday, or the Nationals won, the Blue Jays have already taken the series, winning the opener and the middle, game of the 3-game set. We'll go on to the rubber match before we take a break. But once again, the final score of game number 2, 5-3 Toronto over the Nationals. They would beat the Nationals 4-2 on Wednesday with Mackenzie Gore and Easton Lucas going head-to-head. Mackenzie Gore goes 5 innings, I should say, giving up 9 hits, 3 runs earned, struck out 5 Blue Jays, 1 home run given up, 2 walks in this one. We would see Paul DeYoung in both of these games, all 3 of these games. Jeff Hoffman picks up an ERA of 2.25, but also picks up his 3rd save of the season. Easton Lucas picks up no ERA, goes 5 innings, giving up 1 hit, walked 2 batters, and struck out 3 Nationals. We had Tyler Heineman go 2 for 4 in the game. Also 2 for 4 in the ball game. Former Oriole Anthony Santander, he goes 2 for 4 in the ball game. Frank Gore's record 0-1, ERA 2.45. Not Frank Gore, Mackenzie Gore, excuse me. Out of the Blue Jay bullpen, before we go into the National bullpen for that game, we saw Brandon Little, Chad Green, Jimmy Garcia, and then Jeff Hoffman. We saw Brad Lord and Orlando Rebelta come into the game for the Nationals. 20,104 fans were in attendance at this game. But the Blue Jays pick up the sweep, winning 4-2. They win on 4 runs, 10 hits, no errors. The Nationals, who fell in all 3 of these games, they fall in this one on the count of 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error. Blue Jays take the season series with the Nationals 3-0, winning 5-2 on Monday, 5-3 on Tuesday, and just yesterday afternoon, 4-2 against the Nationals on Wednesday. They are back at it with the Mets kicking off on Friday. Time now for some thoughts on the series, players of the series, and season series upcoming for both teams, coming up in just a few moments, as well as on deck for next time on Blue Jays Game Recap. That is coming your way really, really soon. But just a quick note here before I get into some thoughts on the season series. A reminder to Penguins fans, Ottawa versus Pittsburgh, as well as Florida versus the Pens, and our St. Louis Blues recap is on the way. We will get to the Florida game when we can. Maybe I'll be able to do it while the Blue Jays are on the road. We shall see. But I will get you Ottawa versus Pittsburgh as soon as possible. Penguins taking on the St. Louis Blues at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. In just about 2 hours and 27 minutes from now, they will drop the puck. Pre-game show starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is in 1 hour and 27 minutes from now. Following the Mark Madden show, which is 3 to 6 weekdays on WXDX FM Pittsburgh, an iHeart radio station, 1059 The X. Looking forward to that hockey game. That was a quick update there on Penguins postgame. So now let's get to it. Here we go. Overall, I thought the season series was played very interestingly by the Washington Nationals. The Blue Jays, I thought this was a really interesting series played by the Blue Jays as well. I like the fact that they got the win. They got all 3 wins. I like that. But we've gotten into trouble a couple of times and tried to get ourselves out of it. What I do like is that the fact that the Blue Jays were able to learn from the game on Thursday against Baltimore, and also try to learn from that game on Saturday when they lost 9-5. I tell you, I'll prefer losing 9-5 over losing 12-2 or winning 8-2 over those losses any day of the week. Even if you win 5-2, 5-3, 4-2, it doesn't matter to me. As long as you find ways to win the game. All right, players of the series for the Nationals and the Blue Jays. Season series upcoming for the Nats and the Jays. And on deck next time on Blue Jays Game Recap. Coming up in about 30 seconds from now. Stick with us. More Blue Jays Game Recap right after this.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Welcome back to Blue Jays Game Recap, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Scott McGregor, the host of the program on Sports for Beginners. Thomas is your host of the show on the Ice and Behind the Benches. It is time to put a bow on the Nationals series, Nationals and the Blue Jays. Blue Jays winning all three of those matchups. First, we had a 5-2 final, followed by a 5-3 final. Those were on Monday night and Tuesday night. And just yesterday afternoon, at the timing of our recording, as we are recording this on Thursday, April 3rd, 2025, the Blue Jays completed the sweep of the Nationals, winning 4-2 on the first work from dome game of the season at Rogers Center. But all that aside, before we set up the scene for the upcoming series for Toronto, I should say, and Washington, which is what we're going to do in just a few minutes, let's talk about our players of the series. We're going to, for time constraints, we're going to go ahead and reveal one player from each team to get this award. This award for our baseball content is awarded to the player despite their performance in the game that stood out to us, whether they had a good game or a bad game, depending on the series. As mentioned during the Battle of the Birds recap on Blue Jays game recap for this show, and as mentioned off the top of this program, Max Scherzer was placed on the 15-day injured list with right lat soreness in his thumb. Scherzer said post-game during the Orioles series, after getting through 3 innings, he felt that they were in imminent danger and that if he continued to go through the 4th inning and onward, as his arm fatigued, it would eventually go. Now, on the Max Scherzer note, just for 1 second before we get into it, since we are talking about the Nationals and the Blue Jays, I applaud Max Scherzer for being as urgent as he was to let John Schneider know what was happening and how he was feeling. On John Schneider's part, I don't think he really should have started against Baltimore. I don't think he should have started Max Scherzer. I think he should have either gone to Easton or he should have gone to Yariel Rodriguez. And I know that makes a lot of fans probably shudder, especially with Yariel Rodriguez. But what other choice would the Penguins have had? Scherzer was clearly not well, so he was well enough to pitch, so they did give him the chance to pitch, at least the opening of the game, into the first 3 innings of that game. But I don't think it was a safe idea to do that. Even if his arm was feeling okay, I think we had to consider the player's safety, in this case Max Scherzer. And I hope that Max does get better as the season goes on. I do not want Max Scherzer to miss too many games. He has to be healthy if he's going to help the Toronto Blue Jays this year, in his first year as a Blue Jay. Max Scherzer has to be healthy. Now for my players of the series. if we had a guest on, they would get the honor of doing that, but we don't. So I will provide you with two players, one from each side, who stood out to me. First, we're going to start on the national side. And I got to give some credit to one of the top performers of the game. Oh, no, they were Blue Jays for that one. This is from Wednesday's game. But I feel like we got to talk about the effort from C.J. Abrams. He played in pretty much most of the series and was the leadoff batter. I mean, maybe he was just the leadoff batter for Wednesday's game. I don't remember if he was the leadoff batter for Tuesday night and Monday night's game. I believe he was. I'll have to double check the lineup to make sure. But 1 for 4 on the game. I thought he played really, really well. Even if it was against a rookie like Easton Lucas, who picked up 3 strikeouts in that outing of work of 5 innings pitched, 2 walks given up, and only 1 hit given up by Easton Lucas. Speaking of whom, he has also earned an opportunity to get my Blue Jays Player of the Series. Now, I know when I say Player of the Series, I mean like those who have actually played. But we're going to go ahead and just leave it at how players played in what game we're going to talk about. All right, time now to put a bow on Blue Jays game recap. Blue Jays versus Nationals. It's time for the season series upcoming look around for both teams. We're going to start with the Toronto Blue Jays, and a big note here, our coverage of Boston Red Sox coverage on the Blue Jays game recap for Sports for Beginners will be when the Blue Jays welcome in the Boston Red Sox for a 3-game series set. That will be followed by a 3-game set against the Cleveland Guardians. Should we be recording the night of the finale of that series with Boston, it will be following the final out of the game, and it also will be audio. It will not be in video. It will all be audio. If not, we will get it to you on May 5th, 2025, along with a recap of the Guardians series as well. Our next series will be here on Blue Jays Game Recap, will be the series on the weekend between the New York Mets and the Toronto Blue Jays. The Boston Red Sox will set a 4-game series set to begin on Monday, April the 7th at 6:45 p.m. Eastern, 5:40 p.m. Central, 4:45 p.m. Mountain, 3:45 p.m. Pacific. The first game of the season series with the Mets is an afternoon showdown, and that will be at 3:10 p.m. Eastern, 2:10 p.m. Central, 1:10 p.m. Mountain, and 12:10 p.m. Pacific. To the Nationals we go, as those are the two series we will be looking ahead to. And for the Nationals, their next two upcoming series include a series set with the the Arizona Diamondbacks, beginning on Friday night at 6:45 p.m. Eastern, 5:45 p.m. Central, 3:45 p.m. Pacific Time, 4:45 p.m. Mountain Time. They will also start a 3-game series on April the 7th, and that will go from April 7th to April 9th, beginning also at 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:40 p.m. Central Time, 5:45 p.m. Central Time, 3:45 p.m. Pacific Time, 4:45 p.m. Mountain Time. The next series between the Toronto Blue Jays in homestand series set of games will be featuring the Atlanta Braves, who come in for 3 games, including the next Looney Dogs night down at Rogers Center. That's on Tuesday, the 15th of April. They will then open up a 3-game set against the Seattle Mariners, starting on City Connect night, Friday night at 7:07 p.m. Eastern. On City Connect Friday nights, with the Mariners in for 3 games, leading up to Sunday with an off day on April 17th, which is Thursday. Next time on Blue Jays game recap, we're talking all things John Gippens and the New York Mets. The Blue Jays battle the Mets. And here's a look as we wrap up here on our Nationals recap at our starters for at least the 2 games, Saturday and Friday. It will be Kevin Gausman for the Blue Jays against Tyler McGill. Tyler McGill will get the start for the Mets in the opener against Kevin Gausman. The Saturday night game in New York will feature Chris Bassett going for the Blue Jays in his second start of the 2025 season against Griffin Canning, who will go for the Mets. You know what? Since we're at it, why not add the last of that season series? That will feature, for the New York Mets, they will send to the mound David Peterson. The Blue Jays will counter with Bowden Francis. All these matchups could change depending on how Bowden Francis feels, depending on how Kevin Gausman is feeling, and also depending on how the pitchers for the Mets are feeling. And the same thing can be said for Chris Bassett as well. As for me, that will wrap up our Sports for Beginners coverage for right now for Blue Jays game recap. Blue Jays sweep they don't sweep the homestand, but they do sweep the Nationals. Your final score of Wednesday's game, Blue Jays 4, Nationals 2. My name is Scott McGregor. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, and we look forward to catching up with you again real soon. Lights up. Let's go, Blue Jays. We will see you next time, right here on Sports for Beginners, for another episode of Blue Jays Game Recap. Once again, your final score from Wednesday's game, Nationals 2, Blue Jays 4. The Blue Jays are 5-2 on the season. The Nationals are 1-5. Both teams were out of action today. So where does that put them in the standings? Find out next time. Even though the records will have changed by then, find out next time on Blue Jays Game Recap where the records sit. Just for the American League East standings, the Blue Jays are top of the division at 5-2. The Yankees are 4-2. Tampa Bay is 4-2 as well. And both Baltimore and Boston are 3-4 at the time of our recording right now. We'll see you real soon on Blue Jays Game Recap. Keep it locked here on the Ice and Behind the Benches and Sports for Beginners, wherever you listen to podcasts. Lights up. Let's go. We will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us on Sports for Beginners, the podcast, for Blue Jays Game Recap, the after show on Sports for Beginners, the podcast, right after every Blue Jays game. To learn more about upcoming episodes, when they drop, and schedule, please visit https://sportsforbeginners0.wordpress.com. Follow the show on Facebook at facebook.com/sportsforbeginners87. Send us an email at sportsforbeginners87@gmail.com. Follow Ali, Thomas, and Scott on Twitter at Scott McGregor3, Thomas J, and ALI Musa. Follow Thomas and Scott on Instagram at SMC_87_ and TM_80 and TM00_. Thanks for listening to Blue Jays Baseball, and we hope to see you soon again. This has been Blue Jays Game Recap. Once again, the website is https://sportsforbeginners0.wordpress.com. Thanks for listening. And when it's time for the Blue Jays to play ball, there's only one chant Blue Jays fans will be using. Catch you later, baseball fans.